If you are feeling overwhelmed by the amount of content that Genshin has, and you also have a limited amount of playtime and can't always log into Genshin, well then this video is for you, because these are all the habits that I suggest you add to your Genshin routine, just so that you can improve your account based on your farming availability. This video is going to be divided into sections based on monthly, weekly, and daily habits that you can add. A quick disclaimer before we begin: please make sure that you are adjusting these habits based on your own availability and not burning yourself out when you're playing Genshin. I know that I may mention these things as being chores for your Genshin account, and that's only because I personally enjoy doing Genshin chores, but the intent is to loosen up your stress that you have for farming, and instead give you a little bit of guidance on what things you can add to your routine, just so that you are making steady progress and you're not falling behind. Okay, so without further ado, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor and then get started. I first have a special announcement for you all. It is the spooky season coming up, which means a lot of late night gaming, and having the right snacks is just as important as having resin to spend. That's why I've teamed up again with Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co, since they've got everything you need to make your game nights way more fun and tasty. Both are Japanese snack subscription boxes that can be delivered right to your own home, and this month's themes are seriously perfect for the fall season. Starting with Tokyo Treat, the October box is called Snacktacular Halloween, and it's filled with Japan's limited time Halloween treats. You'll find things like the Creepin' Crispy Corn Bites, delicious garlic chips, and even a Halloween custard cake. But the real star here is the full-size pack of apple pie Kit Kats. These are so delicious, and I almost finished them in one sitting. I literally cannot stop eating them, so I highly recommend it. Another favorite of mine are the Purple Potion Gummies. They're delicious and give you a little energy boost. Now, on the flip side, Sakura Co takes a cozier approach with their Nico's Autumn Splendor theme. This box focuses on traditional artisan snacks like sweet potato yokan, walnut mochi, and momiji manju. Every Sakura Co box comes with tea, and this month's it's Autumn Sencha, which goes perfectly with the snacks. A great choice for a calming evening. And the homeware item is a super cute Neko Furoshiki cloth that's meant to bring good fortune, and I am in love with the cat designs. They're adorable. If you're worried about keeping track of everything, each box includes a full booklet that explains every snack, lists allergy information, and also has fun cultural stories. So make sure to go check out the exciting Halloween edition of the Tokyo Treat booklet and the beautiful autumn theme of the Sakura Co one. There are a ton of cool pages to entertain you. Honestly, this month's boxes are such a vibe. Between spooky Halloween snacks and cozy autumn treats, I feel like my Genshin game night sessions are officially set. You can also gift the box to a friend and give them a spooky or autumn surprise. So if you want to join in, don't wait, because these boxes are a limited edition. Use my code AMBER to get a discount off on your first box and get in on all the fall snacks before they disappear. Thank you so much to Sakura Co and Tokyo Treat for sponsoring this video. Okay, we will start off this section with the monthly things that you should be doing, and the first thing in this case is you should check out your artifact inventory and clean it up. If you are currently farming artifacts, which I am, I always suggest looking through your artifact inventory and taking away all the things with bad substats, or most importantly, artifacts that are just taking up space in your inventory and you won't be using. If you are currently farming artifacts, you would know that the inventory fills up so fast, and I've always struggled with max artifacts because I never cleaned it before, but now that I do this on a more regular basis, it's so much better and more efficient. And thankfully, let's not forget that Genshin did add the new feature where you can check the unactivated stat, and in this case you won't have to worry about guessing whether or not the other stat is going to be good, and once you realize that it's not a useful artifact, you don't have to hang on to the artifact for any longer. So in that case, what I would do, instead of throwing away the artifacts, you can just salvage them instead. That's so much better than just throwing them away. So as usual, I just like to salvage all my lower tier artifacts like my 2-star and 3-star. After I go ahead and do that, now I have EXP that I can use, but what you mostly want to do is look through the artifacts you have here. For example, all these artifacts you see on screen are ones I farmed prior to the new artifact update, which means that I've kept them because of some random reason, whether that be they have a good shot at rolling something, or they're maybe from a set that I need. But now we can guarantee whether or not that artifact's going to be good. This circlet might have looked promising because of the crit damage, and also it's an EM main stat, but I probably only held on to it for the hopes that I'd get crit as my unactivated stat. But after revealing this, I now see that it's HP, and that means I can just get rid of it because I don't need it anymore. So we can do that. So what you're going to do is look through all the artifacts you have, or you don't have to look through all of them, at least the new ones that you formed. But I like to go in and look at my artifacts because I might have a really good one just sitting here and not leveled it up. So you'll want to go and level up the ones that you think are really useful, because who knows, you might end up getting a good substat or rolling into a really good one as well. If you're like me and farmed a bunch of artifacts in the early game, you might have have a bunch of locked ones that you locked a long time ago without knowing what the mystery stat was. So now would be a really good time to go in and check. And to do this more efficiently, I like to actually go teleport to the nearest crafting bench, and then while I'm here, you're going to want to go to the artifact strongbox. You don't have to actually do anything with the strongbox, but once you click this, you can see all the artifacts with their respective sets, and then you can scroll down to all the locked ones that are raised, and then all the ones that are locked but not yet raised. These are the ones I want you to look through, and just having them in this menu is so much easier to look through them, which is the only reason why I'm showing it to you. But you'll see an artifact like this one, where I farmed this artifact a long time ago and I also locked it a long time ago, and now I can see that this mystery stat is crit rate, which is why I want to keep it. As for something like this, I might have kept it because I thought I'd get crit rate, but now that I know it's only HP, I might want to unlock it because it's not worth it anymore. This just saves it so that when you're looking at your locked artifacts, they're actually good ones and they're not just random ones you locked a long time ago. But this step is optional, it's just something I like to do for the sake of cleaning, so I highly recommend you do it if that is what you're interested in. If for whatever reason you're too busy to do that once a month or even twice a month, that's okay, because the next thing I bet you can do really quickly, and that is to go grocery shopping. In this case, what you would do is go to all the people selling items, specifically food items at the local grocery store with each nation. You can also go to the restaurant owners, but if you don't have a lot of time, you don't need to visit every single one of them, but then you're gonna go click on their shopping menu. Buy all the ingredients that you know you're going to be using. I cook with tomatoes quite often, so I'd go and buy these. Now, if you are someone like me and has like 1,000 of these or has a lot of them, you don't need to be buying this all the time, but if you're struggling to just get enough ingredients to cook regularly, it's always good to make a grocery store run, and it is just really helpful in general to have this on hand. But here's the key thing, you don't want to just go to one grocery store. If you are able to do so, try to go visit the vendor from every single nation, because as you know, every nation has their own special section. Like in Liyue has rice, they have shrimp meat, tofu, and almonds. As you can see, I have less almonds than I do potatoes because this is a general one versus a more region specific one. But let's say you're always crafting something like Adeptus Temptation, you might always want shrimp meat. Just make sure to go grocery shopping quite regularly. I recommend it once a month. If you don't cook as often, obviously you can go less, but really what I am aiming for here is to get all of the region specific items that are harder to collect. In this case, you can even get your Naku weed from Inazuma if you are too tired of going out into the world and getting it yourself. But if you are interested, here is what Nudcry sells if you want to go check it out. They have always the basic stuff, and then at the bottom they have rye instead. I know you can collect rye in the world just like you can with wheat and other things, but since I don't have as much, I am going to buy some because I want to be cooking the new dishes with it. And if you're still questioning why I do this in the first place, it's just for the ease of cooking because I cook quite often, and I always tend to use my NRE menu 30, especially when I'm playing a team without a healer. And recently I've been going through the food archive and checking out every single food that's in Genshin, and I've been eating a bunch of ingredients and it's just harder to go and farm them. Also, in case you need stamina dishes or whatever, cooking is so much easier when you have all the ingredients accessible to you, which is why I recommend going out and buying them. Okay, for the next monthly thing, this one in my opinion is just quite important. You should be checking your backpack or inventory quite frequently, just in case you have a bunch of unclaimed rewards, sigils you need to turn in, oculi you also need to turn in, and just things in general that need to be claimed. For example, I have a bunch of these furnishings I still need to click learn for. I have some sigils that I can turn into the shop to get more of for free. I have all of these consumables, radiant spin crystals that I can go and claim in the teapot, and of course these artifact boxes as well. So just make sure at least monthly you are going into your inventory and checking out what you still need to claim. As for the billet troves, I recommend just having them there instead of opening them. These ones are the things you don't have to claim. Also, not only that, make sure you're claiming things like your Imaginarium Theater rewards, or also your Spiral Abyss rewards too, and checking in with any reputation related things or places where you submit sigils. This is also a little boost in case you are running low on resources, because once you turn in all the sigils and stuff like that, you are gaining a little bit of resources that you just had sitting in your bag. So yeah, just make sure you're combing through everything. It's a really quick thing you can do, and perhaps you might find something that's really important you need to use, such as all the oculi you realized you haven't offered yet, or maybe you have a bunch of sigils lying around and that can get you so much more if you turn them in. Whatever the case may be, just make sure you're checking. Now for the next thing that you will want to do, especially with new updates coming out, is go through your quest menu and make sure you are doing quests that are really quick to do. I'm not talking about ones that look like this where they have a bunch of quest chains, or the Archon quests or story quests, not that, but the little ones that you can do really quickly. And especially if you have all those 5-second quests from the way early game, just do them because your quest menu fills up so fast. And of course, when a new update drops and there's new areas quest to explore, you will be flooded with a ton of new quests to do, exploration, archon quests, and story quests, and there have been instances where you have been locked out of doing the main quest just because of the amount of world quests you still have, and you don't want to run into issues with your gameplay, especially when you just haven't completed a 5-second world quest. So the important thing to do is clear out a day in your month where you dedicate to just playing through a bunch of quests. This can be multiple days, or if you're a student, it might be during a long weekend or a break. The best thing you can do is make this process relaxing instead of just grinding hardcore and trying to speedrun everything. So have a snack, chat with some friends, watch something in the background, whatever you can do to get these quests done, just so that it smooths out your gameplay and you're not suffering from a long quest menu of unfinished things. This next thing is so highly optional, but it is something I personally do, and you guys can think I'm weird and that's okay, but what I like to usually do is go into the archive and collect all the food and books that I haven't collected yet. I have mentioned this on many of my account tour videos, but I am working to collect every single food in Genshin. I'm just missing a few of them, and I have a checklist of which ones I still need to collect, but this also goes for the book collections, such as all these ones which I haven't finished the collection of, and you can see a completed mark. I am a Genshin completionist, and it is something that I enjoy doing, so you don't have to do this at all, especially if you think it's boring and if you don't really enjoy collecting things. Sometimes I also go and check all of the viewpoints, like these ones in Nutcry I haven't unlocked yet, but if you do want to start collecting like me, you can always start at any time. Since the archive makes it so easy to check off items you already have, it's not like chests where you have to go back and check where they are, and you can do this monthly or once every 2 months, but I like to do this towards the end of an update where I just go in and check off all the things I already own, just so I can kind of start fresh for the new update. And yeah, that is all for the monthly things. Moving on to the things you should be doing weekly, the first weekly thing you should be doing, and I know I mentioned this a lot, is using your parametric transformer and your crystal fly trap. These things are on a weekly cooldown for both of them and only require a little input of a few things you should use. For the crystal fly trap, you just need to give your ores, and for the parametric transformer, you just need to give a bunch of materials. The higher the level of your materials, the more you will get out of it, and it's just a really great way to get quick and easy resources. The crystal fly trap can be found through Fontaine Reputation, so make sure you get that as soon as you can. And the parametric transformer is from a world quest in Liyue, which is pretty simple to complete because it's in the early game, so you should get access to that, and you probably already do. Another thing you should be doing weekly is always using your transient resin. If you don't know where to get it, you can get the extra resin in Realm Depot. It is right here, and you can get 1 per week. Now what this does, it just gives you 60 resin to use, and you can get one every single week, so you'll always have 60 extra resin to use. You can use this for anything you need to, but I highly recommend using it for Mora or EXP ley lines. This is just so that farming EXP and Mora doesn't chip in from your main resin that you use every week. You can go ahead and buy this, but just make sure you're using it before it expires, because once it expires, it's already gone. So you will see it here in your bag along with a timer, so you can go ahead and get your own. But as you can see, there is an expiry. I believe they did extend it because I think it used to be a week. But yeah, just go ahead, make sure you're using this just so that you can get all the little extra rewards. If you are interested, you can do your Cat's Tail TCG matches. Since these do reset every single week, it's always a good source to get 6,000 free coins, and I just always like to do this. And also, let's not forget that it is part of the weekly missions. If you see here, it says win 2 TCG challenges. The matches in the Cat's Tail all count towards that. And if you're still new to TCG, that's okay because these challenges are pretty easy. If you're looking for a really easy one, just talk to the NPCs because their challenges are usually easier than the ones by the character. I have a TCG video if you are interested in that. It's just a little bit of gameplay so you can see my playstyle. But yeah, TCG challenges if you are interested in doing so. Another thing you should be doing every single week is looking through your characters to see which ones are built and which ones need building. Before you set off farming all your weekly domains and your trounce domains, make sure you know exactly who you're going to be leveling up that week, just so that your head is not all over the place and you're farming materials in a bunch of domains and you're confused because you have too much resin or not enough. So the best thing you can do is scroll through every single character's weapons like this. Same goes for their artifacts and their talents. Or you can just go to the training guide so you can see all of them laid out like this, and so that you get the little bar to see your progression. But while you're looking at all your characters, note down which talents still need leveling up. Like for this one, it says that Navia's needs to be leveled up and she'll need these books, so what you're going to write down is the day that the books are open. You should do this weekly, if not once every 2 weeks, depending on how much you play Genshin, just so that your goals for the week are in check. If you want to use my planner, it is in the link in my bio. But once you've done this, you can dedicate a day where you go and collect all the materials you need. But hopefully by doing this, you'll be a lot more organized and you'll know exactly who you're farming for, and you're not going to look at that wall of characters and just be stuck. The next thing you should be doing at least weekly is collecting the ores that you need. Now this one is really case sensitive because as for me, you can see that I have a bunch of ores and I don't really need to farm some more. But if you are on the lower end of things and you don't have the ones that you get from expeditions, I highly recommend going to the interactive map or talking to the blacksmith in every region so that they can show you where all the ores are. I used to do this back when I didn't have a lot of ores, but if you are doing expeditions, you should get a good amount of them. And as you know, you'll need them for crafting your enhancement ores as well as collecting crystals for the crystal fly trap. The last weekly thing you should be doing, and I hope it's pretty obvious, is maxing out the battle pass just so that you get all the rewards. Whether you have the paid battle pass or just the simple one, it is still really important that you max it out every week, especially since every week has a limit and you don't want to be scrambling within the final week. So try to make an effort to at least do things like defeating bosses, especially the easy ones like completing trounce domains, forging items, cooking dishes, and you probably already spend 500,000 mora anyways, as well as using your resin, so try your best to max out the battle pass. It's really quick, really easy, and if you do all the challenges, it should be a piece of cake. Okay, now let's talk dailies. We all have our own perception of what your dailies are, and it's always different for different people depending on how much time you have to play, and that is completely understandable. Here are a few things you might want to add to your daily routine, but feel free to adjust as necessary because we don't always have a lot of time every single day, and some days you might be more busy, some days you won't be. So other than doing your commissions and claiming your expedition rewards, one other thing you'll want to do is heading to your Serenity Pot to collect all your coins and friendship EXP. If you are at the highest adeptal energy, that means you're getting coins really quickly, and if you don't check this within a certain amount of time, it can reach the max and you won't be getting any more coins. So the best thing you can do is go do this once or even once every 2 days, just to make sure that your pot is not filling up to its max capacity and that you are claiming all the coins. Same thing goes for friendship EXP. This does have a max, so collect it as needed, but my best recommendation is daily or once every 2 days. Since we are here, let me mention another thing you should be doing, and that is crafting ores. As you can see, I've already completed the ones I needed to do today, so I'm gonna claim all of those, and I'm gonna craft all of these to be picked up at least by tomorrow, just so that I can be doing this daily and that there's a steady source of ores to level up my weapons. If you are running low on enhancement ores, this is something you can do that's really accessible. If you can, try your best to be making these 3-star ones, since you only get a certain amount you can craft per day, and you'll want to maximize that crafting time with these higher leveled ores. This is why I mentioned it was so important to go and collect these in your world at least weekly, so that you always have something to craft with when the time comes for you to be making enhancement ores. This next thing is something you don't have to do daily, but it is something I kind of do once every 2 to 3 days, and that is cooking food for my Energy Menu 30. Since I do go through a lot of food, especially when I am exploring, because I don't like to go to the statue every single time, make sure that you're cooking enough food so that you're not having to scour your inventory for the last drop of food, especially if you are fighting local legends without a shielder and a healer, or if you have been doing co-op domains recently and you need that steady source of food in your Energy Menu 30. Cooking food as one of your chores is something I really like to do. Obviously, do this as needed. If you have a ton of food already, then there's absolutely no need to be doing this more than you need to, so feel free to adjust this as your schedule needs it. This next thing I cannot stress enough, and that is just to use your resin daily. The amount of people I've talked to that have their resin sitting at max just because they don't know what to farm, I always tell them just condense it, use it on a boss, use it on ley lines. Even if your domain isn't available that day, there's a reason we have condensing resin. Try not to let your resin sit at its max capacity. Obviously, we all are busy and sometimes we can't use our resin right away, but if you are free and able to play, don't have your resin always sitting at its max. Make sure that you are using it daily because 1, it's a battle pass thing, and 2, it's how you progress in the game and you need to use your resin. So yeah, just be sure you're doing that. The last thing you should be doing is your Genshin daily check-in. And I don't mean your daily commissions, but I mean the HoYoLab daily check-in. So what you will do is check in on the website, and once I do, as you can see, I got a new mail notification. I'll go to my mailbox and I'll click my daily check-in reward and I'll get those rewards that I have. Obviously it looks like a little, but if you are doing this regularly, you will be getting a steady source of EXP, Mora, and also Primogems. Yes, Primogems are one of the daily things. And this daily login is permanent, so it's always going to be refreshing. It's not going to be like this one where it's this kind of daily. It's always going to be there and you always have something to check in, so just make sure you're doing it daily to get those free rewards. That will be all for today's video. I hope you learned something and found something helpful. If I mentioned anything, it will be linked in the description, such as the daily login I mentioned earlier, and also links to relevant videos that you might want to go and check out next. I wish you all the very best for Nodcry and for anything else in the future. Good luck on all your future pulls. I love hearing about your Genshin adventures, so feel free to let me know whoever you're building at the moment, and also if these tips did help. Also, if you'd like to request a video, feel free to leave it in the comments. I look forward to reading all of them. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Good luck on your pulls, and I'll see you all in our next video. Bye!